I think just to be absolutely clear that we believe in this street entertainment or busking is an important part of the local area. It adds value to the vibrancy that Camden has to offer. However, in response to residents' concerns, particularly from police, council, we have sought to respond to the concerns in the most effective way in terms of moving forward and introducing a meaningful policy. The residents' main concerns were sort of at an increased number of people busking at an industrial level across Camden, in particular in Camden Town, live bands, drummers playing on the street, excessive use of amplifiers. I'm afraid the current situation is unsatisfactory, getting out of hand. While the council has a genuine desire to see busking continue, it is considered necessary for Camden to develop a policy in order to tackle the ongoing problems. The policy is a compromise, striking a balance for residents, buskers and residents. We are not banning busking, we are simply implementing light touch regulation of street entertainment that is good for our residents, also improves the quality of life of our residents. You've heard testaments from our residents who are simply have said the impact the busking is having in the quality of life, the fact that occasionally they have been at sort of 1 a.m. in the morning, they cannot sleep. However, the buskers themselves had made no recognition at all about that negative impact that's having in our residents' quality of life. You have no way of address the issue itself. I believe that buskers should take their fair share of responsibility and work with the council. That is why that we are introducing this particular policy. And if you look at the policy itself, it's got a standard and a special license at a fractional cost. I believe the licensing will give consistency and clarity to all parties concerned, and in some ways will provide a clear legislative framework for us. And I think there's discussion, one, to introduce it at certain areas of the borough. I think that will confuse residents and the buskers. By introducing it across the borough, they've got consistency and you're able to deal with the displacement. I think the buskers also made a statement around we've got legislation to deal with busking. I'm afraid, just to be absolutely clear, there are no acts to deal with street entertainment apart from the London Local Authority Act, which contains specific powers for busking. That is why we're introducing this policy. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gone through the process. I just want to sort of also respond to our residents. Absolutely, I agree with them that we need this policy. That is why we're introducing it. And I think it is a balance. Just to sort of come back to sort of Mr. Walker, my hope is that, in terms of the fines, I think if people cooperate, work with the council, then that's kind of the last resort. And I don't think, if you're saying that buskers are responsible, they want to add value to the borough itself, then I would hope that we can work together. Let us see how we can implement these policies, work with yourself in partnerships. The council always will remain open to looking at ways of how those are implemented. We have to take a review and work with yourself. The application itself would be reviewed in terms of the process. There are voluntary code of conduct exist in other boroughs, but they will still have to go through application process, and there are some waiting time that is required. In terms of code of conduct, again, I think as part of the policy we're introducing the code of conduct. But code of conduct alone would not work. Self-regulation hasn't worked. If self-regulation worked, then I'm afraid we would not be here this evening having that discussion. And I think, in terms of the policy itself, I believe it's a very fair, very balanced policy. In terms of the cost, we're not talking about significant. I think sometimes buskers have to take responsibility. In a sense, busking has become commercialised. We're not talking about traditional buskers. We're talking about what residents have said in terms of the police patrol that we put in place to deal with it. I had reports where police have said, look, there are large amount of instruments, they've dealt with situation, we're talking about midnight, and that's been quite consistent. So when you say, well, we you haven't seen buskers. Well, we've got evidence from the police. The police are saying to us, please introduce a policy so that we can tackle this issue itself. I don't think it's in the interest of Camden residents, nor the police, to be spending resources when we should be fighting, tackling crime and ensuring that we are dealing with people that are causing havoc to our residents. I'm afraid the current situation is unacceptable. That is why I'll recommend, I'll suggest that we implement the policy, but we are happy to work with yourself. And again, I think just to come back to Mr. Walker, on the 23rd of September, he was given the privilege of speaking to our officers, discussing the policy. So we've gone out of our way to work with yourself. Thank you very much.